Hi, my name is Rick Isaacs, and I was diagnosed with ALS on November 26th of 2013. For those of you with ALS, those dates are very important to you. It's a day we will remember forever. I'm putting together what I call a Rickumentary, a documentary of sorts by Rick, to try to help people that are going along with their disease as I am, and see if I can offer some tips and advice as to what to do and how to manage the disease. The first thing, I guess, is talking about when you're diagnosed. That was a very emotional time. And if you've been recently diagnosed, there's a lot of things going through your head, and a lot of emotions going on, and you need to deal with that the best way you can. And but you need to seek some help too, because you can't do it alone. You know, part of it might be seeking help through your church, through your faith. But also you need some help from people who know what you're going through. And I think the first order of business really is to get yourself to an ALS Association chapter and seek out what's called the Care Services Coordinator. It's going to be your best friend. The ALS Association, aside from advocating and looking for a cure and funding research for a cure, one of their missions is to help us, those of us that are afflicted with the disease. The first thing they'll do is they'll probably want to come out and sit with you and talk with you, hold your hand, cry with you, and help you make that transition into understanding what you have and what's ahead of you. If you're like me, you're going to have a voracious appetite for finding out what it's all about, what the disease is, what to expect. I know I did. I did a lot of research on the internet, and one of the things that the ALS group did is that my Care Services Coordinator came out and brought a series of 6 books. It starts out with number 1 is what's it all about, and that's kind of, you know, where you are. You need to know what's it all about. And as you go through, you've got coping with change, managing the disease, and things like that. Right now there's no cure, and I think we all know that by now. There is no cure, and the average is 2 to 5 years. Some people get longer, some people don't get as much as 2, but the average is 2 to 5 years. And so what are you going to do in that 2 to 5 years? That's a very important thought, and once you get past that initial shock and bewilderment and start to understand what the disease is about, I think you have a decision to make. And that decision, in my mind, really boils down to one of 2 things. You can face it head on, or you can let it consume you. And there really is not much of another choice. And there are people that choose not to face it head on, and the disease takes them over, and they really don't do much about it. Their lives are hindered because of it. But if you face it head on, you can figure out the things to do to manage the disease so that you minimize the impact and you can keep yourself productive for as long as possible, and you can enjoy life. You know, I've had the disease for a year now, and there's a lot of things I can't do anymore, but I'm basically a happy guy. I have a great family, I have great friends, and I've learned a lot of things along the way. And when I have a problem, I figure out how to work around it, how to do it differently. And it's changing every day because my symptoms change every day. ALS is a disease of progression. So once you lose something, it's gone. But rather than fret over it, you just figure out, well, what am I going to do now that I can't do that anymore? And it might be a tool, it might be a different way of doing things, it might be asking for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a bad thing. There's a lot of people you'll find that are out there that really want to help you. And when you say no, they're hurt. They really are hurt. And when you say yes, they're happy. They want to help you. So let them help you. Let them rake your leaves. Let them wash the windows. Let them walk the dog for you if that's the case. But, embrace your friendship because that's what you got. When all said and done, when you leave this world, the only thing you leave behind is your memories. So make some good ones. I have. So what am I doing today? I don't know what I'm doing today. So I'm going to try to give you some advice. I talked about your care service coordinator. That's very important. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the ALS clinic. An ALS clinic is very important in terms of teaching you how to manage your disease. Managing the disease, what do you mean? Well, you've got managing your symptoms so that you can figure out how to do things best and how to best make your lifestyle enjoyable while you're going through these transitions. And the ALS clinic is a team of doctors and specialists that help you figure those things out. Usually it's headed up by your neurologist or a neurologist. In my case, it happens to be my neurologist. They have speech therapists, they have swallowing therapists, they have occupational and physical therapists, they have people that help you with your breathing and test you for what your force vital capacity is. That's a term you learn in terms of how strong your lungs are. Very critical in managing your disease. They have your care services coordinator is probably going to be part of that team to help you with the social aspects. So there's usually about 8, and I probably missed a few. But you go to the clinic for about a 4-hour period, and you'll see all 8 of them. Our particular clinic, which is a certified center of excellence that I'm lucky to have here in Huntsville, they put me in one room, and the specialists and doctors come to me. And they'll come in, they'll do whatever analysis they want to do, they'll ask you questions, they might perform some tests, they'll analyze you from their perspective, and then they'll move on. And after the day is done, there's a novel approach. The team of doctors and specialists gets together, and they go over what they found during the day, and they put together a plan for you, your own plan, that says, what are you going to do between now and your next clinic visit, and how best to manage the problems that you have, and how to improve upon your life. And by the way, people that attend clinic live longer, so that's a good thing. I want to live longer. I hope you do too. So I went to the clinic. So enough for that paid political advertisement. I'm a very staunch supporter of the ALS Association and all that they do for me. There's a vast amount of resources that they have, and they understand the disease. You may have found that your neurologist, of course, who probably diagnosed you, is very familiar with the disease, but your other doctors probably aren't. The other doctors probably have seen, if they have seen a patient with ALS, they probably won't see many more. You know, my particular family practitioner told me that he probably wouldn't see another patient with ALS in his career. And if you think about it, you know, only 2 in 100,000 are afflicted with the disease. He's not going to have that many patients. So, you know, the likelihood of him seeing another ALS patient is probably rather slim. And that goes for your other doctors as well. So, you know, that's another reason for going to the clinic. All those people are trained in ALS. And you want to make sure whenever you do anything medically that you get people that are trained in ALS, because others will do what they think is right, but it may be contraindicative to what should be done for that disease. And you have to be careful. So, you know, enough of that, and I think that I am very, very much appreciative of what the ALS Association does, because they've done a lot for me. And when you get that diagnosis and you look around and you say, what do I do now? Where do I go? What do I do? I ask those questions. I really have no idea. Where do I go to ask those questions? Well, the answer to that is your ALS chapter. They know. They've seen it before. They've been there before. They have support groups. They have, and you can meet other patients with ALS, and they'll want to help you too, because they're going through the same thing. So, get yourself to that ALS Association chapter, talk to your care services coordinator, and start going down your path. The other thing that I had to do before I really could start pushing forward in life is to analyze my finances. And after a few false steps, I found through the ALS Association a financial planner that understood what was going on with the disease. It's very important, because even your financial planner needs to know what you're going through. And that financial planner happened to also work with a lawyer for my will and my healthcare directives, and an accountant for my taxes and things like that. And it's kind of important, just to give you peace of mind, to figure out financially how you're going to be able to handle this. Everybody's going to have a different situation, but rather than just let it lurk over your shoulder and worry you like that dark cloud that's hanging over your shoulder, go talk about it. You know, bad news doesn't get better with age, right? So go talk about it with a financial planner, lay it all out, see what you got. See where you need to put your money and what you got to do with it. See what kind of resources you may have that you're going to need to be able to cope with this disease as you go through the next several years. And so it's important to do that. Now, my financial planner had very, very sage advice. She said to me, I know it seems like it's a huge amount of work to do, and it does. You know, wills, estate planning, healthcare directives, you know, all those types of things are very complicated, and they seem overwhelming. And she says, don't worry about it, just think about it as pulling weeds. She says, every day you pull a weed, and soon your path will be clear. And she was right. You know, I pulled weeds for, it must have been the better part of 6 months. But once I got done with that, I had all my planning done, I had my finances in order, I felt a burden lifted from my shoulders. I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm thinking about how do I progress with my disease. So face it head on, okay? Don't let things just eat at you in the background. Face it head on. Don't let it consume you. That's so important. Okay, now for some tools of the trade. Let's start off with the morning. The morning is a horrendous time of the day for those of us afflicted with ALS. Why? Because we have to do the basic chores that most people take for granted. And those basic chores are exhausting. You have to brush your teeth. You have to, for guys, you gotta shave. You gotta comb your hair. You gotta wash your hair. You gotta take a shower. You gotta dry off after taking a shower. You gotta brush your teeth. You got all sorts of things to do, and it can be overwhelming because it's so tiring. And the problems that we have with ALS is the fact that we fatigue very easily. My particular case, I'm one of those that was affected in the upper extremities. So my arms are very weak, particularly my right arm. My right arm, it was the first thing that started to go. And that arm is very weak, and the hand is very weak. And my left arm is behind it, but it's still getting pretty darn weak. But fortunately, I'm left-handed, so a lot of things I do, I'm still able to do. But the other thing that gets us is, in my particular case, I've got the bulbar effect, which means I have difficulty with things like swallowing and sometimes speaking, especially at the end of the day. It's difficult for me to talk because of things going on within your mouth and your tongue and your swallowing and all that kind of stuff. So that's a difficulty. But at the end of the day, you may be experiencing muscle fasciculations or twitching in the muscles. Most of us do. Well, those twitching is like your muscles are always active. They're always running that marathon. And somebody once said it's like running a 10K every day. That's why you're so darn tired. Okay, so you have to do things to conserve energy. Okay, so we're going to try to conserve some energy here. And, we have to do things differently. If I can't do something, I figure out another way. So the first thing I do in the morning normally is I shave, okay? If you have one of these, you need to get rid of it. This is a dangerous weapon, okay? Unless you're masochistic and you enjoy cutting your throat with a razor blade or walking around with little bits of tissue stuck all over your face, you don't want this damn thing, okay? So get rid of it. Now, what are we gonna do now? We still gotta shave. Oh, wow. I got this neat little Norelco shaver from Costco. And it may look pretty big, okay? But it's very lightweight, very lightweight. That's important, right? It's very lightweight. It doesn't weigh much. And the other good thing about it is you can use it in the shower. And that helps you shave and get a closer shave. You're used to shaving with a razor blade and you like that close shave. And then you use an electric razor and it works okay. This baby works pretty damn good. And what you do is you get in the shower and you soap up your face, and then the button's a little hard to press, but you press the button, and I use two hands and just to guide it, and you just, with the soap on your face, you just shave like you normally would. And this thing got little, heads on it that rotate and swivel and everything. Very comfortable. It's actually a very nice shave. It gets it pretty darn good. Not quite as close as a razor, but at least you don't slit your throat in the process. And I think that's kind of important. So I don't want to slit my throat anymore. So I use this thing. It holds a charge for a long time. It holds 60 minutes to charge, so that lasts a couple of weeks. Get those at Costco. They have usually, every once in a while, they'll have like $30 off. I think it was $150, so you take that $30 off. It's about $120, well worth the investment. Okay, brushing your teeth. Oh my God, that has got to be one of the hardest things. And you think, what's so hard about taking a toothbrush and brushing your teeth? Well, you gotta hold your arm up and you gotta brush, and you're supposed to brush for 2 minutes. I'm like, oh man. By the time you're done, your arm's ready to fall off. And you probably haven't done a very good job. And brushing your teeth is very important for ALS patients because many of us get swallowing problems, which sets up bacteria in your mouth and problems in your teeth and gums, and you don't want any of that. So you want to brush your teeth as much as possible. So how do we get around that? Well, I've always used an electronic toothbrush. This one happens to be a Sonicare. Okay, it's a new one. It's a little lighter weight than the previous model. Got these, believe it or not, at Costco. And once again, I think I got 2 of them for $100 with chargers and travel cases and all that kind of crap. But anyhow, it's fairly lightweight. And you say, well, geez, that's heavier than a toothbrush. What are you going to do with that? Well, the point of the electronic toothbrush is let the toothbrush do the work for you. Don't do the work yourself. So I'm going to go about demonstrating this. What you're going to see me do is I'm going to put it in my mouth and I'm going to angle it with my hand and I'm going to support it on my arm, okay? And normally when I do this, I put my arm in my lap and I sit in the chair outside the bathroom and I brush my teeth in the way I'm going to show you. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the toothbrush on my arm, which is fairly easy to do, and I'm going to move my head, right? Okay? I'm not going to be brushing. I'm going to let the toothbrush do the work. I'm just going to stick it in there. I'm going to get it to all the corners of my mouth, and inside and the outside of the upper, and the outside and the inside of the lower. And I'm just going to rotate my head to get all those quadrants. Okay, so here's a little demonstration. I think you get the idea. So once again, you let the toothbrush do the work, not you. Saves a lot of energy. And you do it sitting down, that saves even more energy. Standing up takes a lot of energy. So it's all about conservation of energy in my mind. Okay. As far as toweling off and drying your hair, my wife helps me with that. I no longer can do that. But, that's where you ask for help. And so she dries me off and towels my hair. And I can comb my hair and she will blow dry it for me if I like to look real dapper in the morning, which I do. And my best feature is my hair. And so I want to keep that nice. And so I let Cindy helps me out in the morning with that. What's another thing? Cutting your nails. What a pain in the ass, right? Cutting your nails, especially when you got hands that can't grip, that can't squeeze things, right? You got those nail clippers that you can't use. Well, I've got a good care services coordinator, and she ordered me this gadget from a magazine that they have for people with disabilities. And it's basically a plastic plate with a clipper that's been screwed down to the plastic plate. And on the back of the plate, it's got some suction cups. So if you got, like your countertop in your bathroom, you can press that down onto the countertop and it won't move, okay? And it's pretty good even on this wooden table, okay? Now what you do is I'm sitting down, but so I'm going to stand up and kind of show you. But what you do is you stick your nail in there, and now you're not squeezing it, you're putting your body weight onto that. So you can, most of us can still put our body weight into that and lean over and cut our nails, okay? And I used this for several months. It worked pretty good, and it allowed me to cut my own nails. One of the things that starts to go is, you can see that these two fingers don't work much at all anymore. And it becomes hard to just even position them to get them into the clipper. So I have resorted to getting a mani-pedi. Okay, what's a mani-pedi? I'm a guy. I don't know what the hell a mani-pedi is. So I thought a mani-pedi was a pedicure for a man, right? Okay, shows how stupid I am. Well, I found out it's a manicure and a pedicure. So I go to the local mani-pedi place, Tip Top Nails down the street from me, and this nice little girl cuts my nails, massages my hand, cuts my toenails. Toenails are so hard to cut. When your hands don't work, it's like, oh my goodness. So finally got to the point where I couldn't cut my toenails anymore, and it's very frustrating for someone like your wife to cut your nails unless she's done it before. And so I paid the money to go down and have my nails done. Turns out it's a pretty pleasurable experience. I really enjoyed it. And they cut your nails and they massage your feet and massage your legs and your arms and your hands, and you walk out there feeling pretty good, and you look pretty dapper when you're done. So I think it's well worth the investment. But in the meantime, one of these little doodads can help you get that independence and keep your independence for a little while longer. Okay? Mine's gone. That's okay. I got another workaround. I get my nails done by somebody else. So that's good. I think that's about it for my tips for showering and shaving and things in the morning. What else? Let's talk about eating. Okay. Eating. Well, sometimes it's hard to pick up a fork and a knife. Well, this fork and this spoon are specially engineered. You can see it's kind of bent in that direction. It's got this little twisty thing. It's twisted towards you, all that kind of stuff. This one, same thing. It's kind of bent and twisted, right? Well, that's very good. So if I was right-handed, okay, this thing would be twisted toward me and bent toward me so that I could use it to eat, okay? And that would be very good if I was right-handed. Unfortunately, I'm left-handed. So, okay, now I got this thing that's bent and twisted in the wrong direction, okay? So I'm trying to use it. It's bent away from me and twisted away from me. So it's like, hell of that crap, So what do? I use a regular fork and knife. They have given me some of this stuff. I haven't tried it yet. But I use a regular fork and knife. I use a bowl, by the way. And most of the time I eat with a spoon. It's much easier. My wife cuts my food for me now. I really have trouble cutting my food on a daily basis. But this thing, you cut a piece of this off and you can put it on your fork or knife, and it makes it wider. Anything that makes it wider makes it easier to grip. When you try to grip little things, your hands don't close down, and dexterity is not there to manage that. So you can use these things. They come in 1 foot lengths, I think, and then you cut off a piece and put it on your fork and your knife. I haven't done that yet, but I got a wife that takes good care of me. Another thing that helps if you want to be cutting your own food, and is this little violent-looking piece of apparatus. Okay, looks pretty dangerous, doesn't it? Okay, it's a knife. Okay, it's a knife for those of us that can't cut like this. Okay, there's no way I can cut like that. My hand just kind of falls down. Okay, but I can lean. Okay, So this knife, I'll demonstrate on top of this little cutting board thing here. This knife, you put your meat down or whatever you're trying to cut, and you rock it. And I'm not putting any force with my hands. I'm leaning into it with my body. And so you can rock it, and then turn it, and rock it, and rock it. And you can cut your food with this thing. I find that works pretty good. It's I was a little skeptical at first, but the darn thing works pretty good. And once again, I got that from my care services coordinator. Okay. What else did she give me? Okay. She gave me a pen. Yeah, you think, okay, you can still write. Well, it gets harder and harder to write. Okay, I'm left-handed. If I was right-handed, I couldn't write at all. But this will keep me going for a little while longer. It happens to be an ALS pen. You can see the logo on there. But it's thick. Remember when you went to school and your mother bought you this great big pencil? And that great big pencil had a little tassel on it, and it was the first day of school. Well, that's what I feel like when I got with this thing. But the good thing about it is it's big. Once again, you can't grab a little big pen, You can't grab it and you can't manage it, It's easier to manage the writing with this thick one than it is to manage it with the other. It's all about managing the disease, managing the symptoms so that you can do as much as you want and be as happy as you like. Okay. What else have we got? I think we're done with the kitchen. Okay. This little doodad, you put a key in there. Helps you, if you got trouble turning the key in the ignition or in your door, this is good. Now the good thing about this is if you're doing it for your door, you can put the key in those little slots there, right? Problem with this particular model is if you want to put your car key in there, car keys now have this big plastic doohickey on the end, and embedded in that doohickey is a little chip that mates to the car and tells the car that the key is a valid key. So if you go to Home Depot and have your key replaced like I did, and it doesn't have that little doohickey on it, well, what's going to happen is you're going to find that you turn the key and the car doesn't turn over. Well, I learned that. So I don't use this, but it can be useful if you're just trying to turn a key on a door and whatnot. I use a garage door opener. So, thank God for cars with push-button ignition, which is, our other car has that, so I'm very thankful for that. Back to eating and drinking. If you have problems lifting a glass as I do, these things are heavy, regular glasses are heavy. These are what's called Tervis or Tervis type glasses. This one particular one came from Margaritaville. It says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And so it's not 5 o'clock here, so I'm not going to do that. But it's a lightweight glass, and it's easier for me to manage. And a glass of this size in glass would be very, very heavy. Okay, so once again, it's something that's a little lightweight. I like this one, but I even like this one better because it's got a handle on it. What's the handle do? You can put your fingers through it. Okay, so it's backed up here. Now I got my hand wrapped around it, and I got this little handle that helps me manipulate it. And so now, and this is a pretty big. This will hold a 12-ounce beer, by the way, or soda if you so prefer. Coke, as you would say down here in the South, and so you've got a cup that you can manage much easier, and it's lighter weight. And I use it for my coffee in the morning. I use it for ice water. I use it for any kind of drink that I want to have, including I have my beer at night. I'll put it in this cup, and I will enjoy my beer if I have one on the weekend. But this is a very, very handy tool. It's very lightweight, and I highly recommend them. Okay, So we talked about that. We talked about the books. Now I think what I want to do is I want to take you for a little tour and show you some of the things that I've got. And so I'm just going to see if I can move this camera pretty easily. Hopefully I set it up to make it easy to do that. There we go. Okay. This is my chair. Now, in my particular case, I am using it temporarily. This is a loaner, okay? And I got this from the ALS Association. They had it in what's called their loan closet. And why do I have it? Well, you can see that I'm walking, and I can walk, but it uses a lot of energy. And I talked about energy conservation, and that's exactly what I want to do, is I want to conserve my energy. And so I use that chair so that I can minimize the amount that I have to walk in a day and use that energy for other things that I really want to do rather than using it for walking a few steps. So I'm going to sit in this chair for a second and talk to you about that. So we've got a chair here that needs to get through that door, okay? That door is a 30-inch door, okay? If you open a normal 30-inch door, the door itself will take up about 2 inches of that opening, and it ends up being 28 inches wide, okay? The width of this wheelchair is about 26 inches wide, okay? So that's a pretty tight fit to get through that door. You can get through it, but boy, that's really close. So what do? Okay, we come in here, and I had installed, and by the way, this was a recommendation from my care services coordinator at the ALS Association, something called an offset hinge. Now, it doesn't look too obtrusive on the inside, but what that allows the door to do is it allows the door to open up so that you are able to use that full 30-inch width and get that chair through the door. Okay? The offset hinge, you can see this, the offset hinge basically takes that door and moves it all the way out of the way. So it's not even in the door frame. Oop, there's my dog. Hello, Mango. By the way, Mango is my best friend. And you can see Mango here. And if you haven't got a dog, boy, they're awfully good friends for you during the day. All right, Mango. Yeah, that's my girl. Okay, so you want to tell them about the door? Okay. So now you can see that that door is full width, and I can drive that wheelchair right through that door. Are you going to come in, Mango? Come on, go. Okay. So that's about it on that. So there's my chair, and you know the resources that you have at your ALS Association chapter. You know what happens is patients, when at the end of their use of this wheelchair, they typically will donate them back to the ALS Association chapter so that other people like you and me can use them. And I am very grateful to have this as a resource. And I'm not yet at the point where I'm medically necessary to have it, so I wouldn't have that right now to help me conserve my energy unless I had that ALS Association loaner that they're letting me use until I'm, you know, eventually I'm going to need my own chair. And they're very expensive. You don't want to purchase that on your own, believe me. I think they're anywhere north of $30,000. Okay. So now I'm going to take you in to the bathroom, and I'm going to show you a couple things in here. Getting out of breath. My shower. Okay. Fortunately, when I built the house, before I was diagnosed, I had a very large shower put in, and it happens to have a zero entry, so there's no step there. And you know, eventually, when I can't stand, we're going to be able to wheel a shower chair in there, or place one in there, and it's zero entry, so I don't trip over that, and that's a good thing. Okay, but what I really came in here to show you is what I call the car wash for your butt. Okay, this particular baby is called a Toto, and it's a washlet. Okay, what does the washlet do? The washlet basically washes your butt. It's like a bidet, but it does much more. It's got a heated seat. It heats the water, and it will move up and down and oscillate and scrub that stuff out. And those of you with ALS know that if you've got problems with your hands, that doing those personal things can be one heck of a chore, if not impossible. And the one thing you don't want is you don't want somebody else coming in and wiping your butt as long as possible. So this makes it possible, okay? It's got a little doodad that comes out of the bottom of that thing there, and it comes down and it sprays water where it needs to be sprayed. Nice warm water. The seat is heated. When it's all done cleaning you up, it's got a dry cycle. It actually has a blow dryer that blow dries your butt. And talk about great, you know. And then all you got to do is walk away. It's really quite efficient. Now, it will basically attach to your water supply. That's not a problem, okay? What is a problem is it's electric, okay? And most of you don't have a plug in your bathroom, so you need to have an electrician install a ground fault circuit in there so that you've got a nice safe electrical connection. I had that done and that was good, but this was, all told, this thing was $1,000, but it was worth every penny. I really enjoyed doing it. It's got a remote control. You control how the pressure and the oscillation and the temperature and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good thing. I thought you'd like to see it. So let's go in and wrap it up. Okay. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to show you. One thing that I forgot to show you. This little guy right here. See that? Looks like a key. Well, these are made, and you probably have seen them on old lamps, right? But the new ones have these little plastic knurly things, right? Little tiny things. I couldn't turn the darn light on. You know, it's got this little knurly thing, and it's a little tiny thing, and I would struggle mightily to turn the darn light on. You want to be able to turn your own freaking light on, okay? So, we went out, and I forget who told us about this, but we went out and said, my wife went to the local lighting store, and they sell these things for like 50 cents, right? So we bought a bunch of them, and we put them in all our lamps, and we end up with about 6 or 8 lamps that have those things. Some of them are 3-way lamps, some of them are just a regular bulb that goes on and off. But turning that little knurly knob is no longer a problem for me. These are really easy to turn. It takes very little energy, so if you can get one of those, this little stupid thing for 50 cents is a lifesaver, and it saves a lot of frustration. I hate being frustrated. So I hope that I helped you today. I've tried to give some tips of things that I've done to manage my life. and make my life happier. My life is very happy. I really enjoy everything about it. I love my family. I got to walk my daughter down the aisle about a month ago when she got married to a great guy. And those types of things and those memories that we make are just wonderful. I got to go to New York with my son, and we saw a ball game, and we went to see a Broadway show, and of course we had to go visit the Lou Gehrig Memorial Monument out in Yankee Stadium. But it's doing things and leading a normal life. Is it difficult? Yeah. When you travel, I've got a Trilogy machine that helps me to breathe at night, and I have to travel with that, and that means I need somebody to carry it because the darn thing is pretty heavy. Okay, I'm not yet at the point where I need to take that motorized wheelchair with me, but that will come too, and we're gonna have to deal with that. We'll probably get one of those vans that allows you to get the wheelchair in there, and that'll be another expense. But there's ways to do things, and there's ways to work around things, and my whole point is face it head on. Don't let it consume you. Love life like I love life, and just continue making those memories, and make them with the people that count. And you'll find out who they are. You probably know who they are. There's people that really count and really mean a lot in your life, and just embrace them because they want to embrace you too, as well. Well, I'm getting kind of tired talking, so I'm going to wrap this video up, and I urge you to comment on it. Tell me what you think about it. It's probably too long, but tell me what you think about the video, and tell me what you would like to hear, and what you would rather not hear. I don't know. If you didn't, what you did like or what you didn't like about the video. I'm a big boy. I can, if I've got an ALS, nothing phases me anymore. But so I encourage you to do that. I'm going to continue making these videos, and if they're helpful, if people appreciate them, it's kind of therapeutic for me, and I like to try to help people in any way I can, and so I'm going to continue to do this, and I hope to see you soon. You can put a comment down on my YouTube comment section there, and I'll be sure to read them. I'll read everyone. Thank you, and have a great day.